In this video, we're unveiling 5 groundbreaking tools that are changing the game in language education. From tech that transforms your students' engagement to innovative strategies that make learning a language not just effective, but exciting, we've got the secrets you need. Stick around to discover these must-try tools that promise to take your teaching to the next level and keep your students eagerly awaiting every lesson. Let's dive in and transform the way we teach languages today. My name is Scott, and you're watching an Immediate Immersion where we're all about comprehension-based instruction in the modern language classroom. We'll be right back. Let's talk about how interactive whiteboards are completely changing the game in our language classrooms. They're not just boards. Think of them as gateways to a whole new world of teaching possibilities. Starting with virtual field trips. This is such a cool feature. Picture this. One day your class is walking through the historic streets of Madrid, and the next they're exploring the lush rainforests of Costa Rica. It's all about bringing the culture and language to life right from your classroom. And the best part, it's super easy to implement. Just find some immersive videos or virtual tours online, project them onto the board, and voila, you've got yourself an engaging, culturally rich lesson that goes beyond the textbook. Next up, live polling. This is a real game changer for understanding how well your students are grasping the material. After a teaching concept, throw a quick poll up on the board. Students can respond using their devices, and you get an instant, anonymous feedback. It's a great way to make sure everyone's on the same page without putting anyone on the spot. Plus, it's a great way to mix things up from the usual raise your hand approach. And then there are interactive games. Who said learning grammar and vocabulary can't be fun? With interactive whiteboards, you can easily turn a mundane drill into an exciting game. Imagine a drag and drop activity where students rearrange sentence components to form correct structures, or a matching game where they pair words with their meanings or images. These games not only reinforce language concepts, but also cater to different learning styles. Plus, it's a fantastic way to encourage friendly competition and teamwork in your classroom. So there you have it, 3 actionable ways to utilize interactive whiteboards for engaging, effective language teaching. Give them a try and watch how they transform your students' learning experience. It's all about making language learning interactive, immersive, and most importantly, fun. Let's continue with how language learning apps are pushing boundaries of our classrooms and making learning more dynamic and accessible. First off, we've got homework challenges. Now I know, homework might not be every student's favorite, but hear me out. Using apps like Duolingo or Babbel, you can create a whole new homework experience. Set up weekly targets or challenges on these apps and watch as your students compete with each other. It turns language practice into a fun game, keeping them engaged even outside the classroom. Plus, it's a fantastic way to reinforce what's been taught in class. You might even see students who are usually less enthusiastic in class shine in these challenges. Then there's pronunciation practice. This is huge, especially for those tricky sounds that students might struggle with. Apps with speech recognition features are perfect for this. Encourage your students to use these apps to practice their pronunciation. They can get immediate feedback on their accent and pronunciation, something that's hard to monitor for each student in a regular class setting. It's like having a personal language coach in their pocket. Lastly, let's talk about cultural exchange. I love this one because it really brings the language to life. There are apps out there that connect students with native speakers around the world. It's like the modern day version of having a pen pal, but with instant interaction. Students get to practice their conversational skills and at the same time learn about the culture directly from someone who's living it. It's an authentic experience that textbooks just can't provide. Plus, it prepares them for the real-world conversations, which is, after all, the goal of language learning. So now you have 3 practical, easy-to-implement ways to use language learning apps to extend the boundaries of your classroom. These tools not only make learning more engaging, but also help students develop a deeper, more practical understanding of the language. Give them a try and watch how they add an extra layer of fun and effectiveness to your teaching. Let's talk about how podcasts and audio tools are really stepping up the game in enhancing listening skills in language learning. First up, we've got customized podcasts. This is a super cool idea. Imagine creating mini podcasts or audio clips that discuss topics or tell stories in the language you're teaching. You could talk about anything from current events to cultural anecdotes. It's a fantastic way to expose students to authentic language usage, different accents, and dialects. And it's pretty easy to do. You could record these yourself or collaborate with other language teachers. It's a unique resource that students can listen to anywhere, anytime, reinforcing their listening skills and giving them a real feel of the language in its natural context. Then there's the concept of audio diaries. This is a personal favorite. Encourage your students to keep an audio diary in the language they're learning. They can talk about their day, their thoughts, or even what they've learned recently. It's a personal and engaging way to practice speaking. Plus, they can share these diaries with you for feedback, which is a great way to track their progress and pronunciation. It's like having a speaking exercise that's both meaningful and fun. I love to use flip.com for this. Lastly, let's talk about listening comprehension challenges. This is about leveraging the wealth of existing podcasts out there. Each week, pick a podcast episode in the target language and use it as a basis for a listening comprehension activity. Students can listen to the episode and then discuss the content or answer questions about it. This is an excellent way to get them familiar with the different speaking styles and regional dialects. It's not just about understanding the words, it's about getting the nuances, the cultural references, and the rhythm of the language. So there you have it. 3 actionable, effective strategies using podcasts and audio tools to boost those listening skills. Each one offers a different angle, from formal listening practice with customized podcasts to a more personalized approach with audio diaries and the practical application with existing podcasts. It's all about making listening exercises more engaging and reflective of real-world language use. Give them a try and see how they spice up your language lessons. Video creation and analysis are making visual learning in language classes more dynamic and effective. First off, how about getting students to create their own videos? It's a fantastic way to blend creativity with language learning. Assign projects like making a cooking show or a travel vlog in the target language. Imagine your students cooking a traditional dish and exploring the process in Spanish, or acting as a tour guide in a French-speaking city. This kind of project not only bolsters their language skills, but also lets their creativity shine. It's fun, engaging, and really pushes them to use the language in practical, everyday contexts. Plus, watching and sharing these videos in class can be a great bonding activity. Then, there's the power of analyzing foreign films or shows. This is an incredible tool for immersing students in the language. Pick a movie or a TV show in the target language and break down the specific scenes. Discuss everything from the dialogue to the cultural nuances and expressions. It's not just about understanding the language, it's about getting a deeper insight into the culture behind it. This approach can really open up discussions and perspectives, making language learning more than just about grammar and vocabulary. Lastly, role-playing skits. These are gold. Have your students record and then analyze role-playing skits. They could act out scenarios like ordering food in a restaurant, asking for directions, or a job interview. This method helps them understand the practical use of the language. It's also a safe space for them to make mistakes, learn from them, and improve. Plus, reviewing and discussing these skits in class can lead to some valuable feedback and learning moments. Incorporating these strategies into your language classes can really amplify the learning experience. They're actionable, they're fun, and they bring a much needed practical aspect of language learning. Give them a go and watch them transform the way your students interact with and perceive the language. Dive into the world of advanced language education at Comprehended 2024. This is your opportunity to connect with top educators, absorb transformative teaching techniques, and bring fresh inspiration to your classroom. With sessions from renowned experts like La Maestra Loca, you're in for an unparalleled learning experience. Hurry to comprehended.co/register and register now. Don't miss out on this chance to be part of a pivotal event in language teaching. The community is waiting for you. Finally, let's get into social media. It's all about making language learning relevant and tapping into the platforms where your students are already actively engaged. Starting with Instagram story exchanges. This is a fantastic way to get students using the language in a context they're familiar with. Imagine your students posting stories where they use new vocabulary or phrases they've just learned. They could describe their or even conduct mini interviews in the target language. Their classmates can view and respond, creating an interactive and supportive learning environment. It's a great way to encourage them to use a language in a real life context and to help them overcome the fear of making mistakes in public. Moving on over to Twitter, now known as X, we have the language challenges. X can be a powerful tool for concise language practice. Create a class hashtag and encourage your students to tweet in the target language. They could share a new word they've learned, a cultural fact, or even language related questions and thoughts. It's a way to keep the conversation going outside the classroom and build a community of language learners who support each other. Plus, it's a chance for students to see how language can be used in a practical, everyday setting. And then there's YouTube project collaborations. This is where you can really expand the horizons of your language class. Collaborate with other language classes around the world to create a joint YouTube project. It could be anything from a cultural exchange video where students share insights about their cultures to a debate on a global issue or even a shared storytelling project. This not only helps with language skills, but also fosters a sense of global community and understanding among students. It's an exciting way to bring the world into your classroom and give students a platform to express themselves. These social media strategies offer tangible, engaging ways to make language learning more relevant and fun. By integrating these platforms into your teaching, you're not just teaching a language, you're connecting your students to the wider world where the language lives. Give them a try and watch how they transform your students' engagement and enthusiasm for learning. I hope you found at least one tip that resonated with you and can enhance your teaching approach. If you did, please show your support by hitting the like button. Have you taken our CI Proficiency quiz? If not, go to mm.us/CI quiz and take this free quiz and test your CI Proficiency today. And don't stop there. Check out one of the 2 videos YouTube has selected for you next. They're tailored to keep fueling your journey in language education. Remember, every step we take towards innovative teaching leads to happier, more engaged learners. Happy comprehensible input.